Peace. Damn. Damn. Happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. We're not going too far in the past. We're not going too far in the future. We're in this moment, right here, right now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Got the resist sign in the background. Talking about resist the dumb shit. I was just playing, whatever, resist those, those hindering vibrations, As a matter of fact, we're moving into a place where we want to keep in mind that it's about balance, And of course, we're reaching to high vibrations, but, it's high vibration in a sense of a certain existence, not like high vibrations that's battling against low vibrations, We are the high and the low vibrations, but in the essence of growing to 5D, to a 5-dimensional existence, the vibration raises in that essence. So it's not that the vibration is raising to be against lower vibrations, but it's just that, just the evolution of where raising in, vibration, raising in light. So, but I want to share some of the books I'm dealing with right now. Some of them I'm them cracked open. Some of them is books I'm revisiting. But I'm just gonna share, what I'm reading right now. This first one I wanna, Awaken Healing Light of Tao by Montauk Chia. This is the one. Matter of fact, you see this thing tick, like we said, that ting tick, man. But teaching you all the breathing techniques, matter of fact, it gets into the, in essence, somewhat teaching about tantric energy, the sexual energy, because it teaches how to recycle the sexual energy instead of turning it into something that's pervertive or something that's not, beneficial to you on a soul level. It allows for it to be recycled within the microcosmic, orbit or the microcosmic breadth, so to speak. But this book, matter of fact, I'm on a part. Matter of fact, you can see all the different, and which was pretty cool, the cool point of about following your intuition, because a lot of things that I'm reading in here, is situations where I either came across a small snippet of this information, because I was doing the microcosmic breath before I got this book, so it's just just to remember too, to just always stay in tune and, meditate, clear that mind. And, it's as simple as once your mind cleared, you'll realize if you don't just catch clear cognizance thoughts out the blue, you could just ask hey, higher self and source, why such and such and this and that gotta be like this? And if it's something that doesn't throw off the divine order of what's going on, they could let you know. If it's something that's gonna throw off the divine order, the question may not be able to be answered, But not to go off on no tangent somewhere else, but awaken, healing light, and it's down to, the different breathings. You got the alternating nostril breath, to balance out again, energies, negative and positive energies are the masculine and feminine energies of the body, the Ida Pingala, with the Sushumna, going up the middle of the spine. But, you got the alternating, in which, say for instance, the nostrils, one nostril has and it's not corresponding the way I'm touching them, but just, one side is negative, one side is positive, and then at certain points of the day, they, they switch. But you got the breath where, you hold one nostril and, inhale and do it in a yogic breath type of way. So when you inhale, you're bringing it to the stomach, bringing it to under the diaphragm in essence. And, so you did this nose inhale, and so now you exhale out of the opposite nose. And then you come again, Then you inhaling, starting off inhaling with this nose. Then exhaling with this nostril. You could do this a few times, maybe like 5 to 10 times, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Whenever the little voice in your head say things are, balance, stop, but also too, don't forget to pull up on your perineal, I think it's perineum, the muscle in between, the anus and the genital area, like it's like that muscle you use to like stop when you're peeing or something like that, you know what I'm saying, or to make your pee come out, like that muscle right there. You want to pull up on it, like almost like, suck it in, and that also activates the Kundalini energy, And you also got the quick breathing as well. That's pumping, that's in and out, that's positive, negative, that's pumping the Kundalini as well. So just that's something, but nice when I'm taking my time with this one I'm on. I surprised myself, because to say, I usually see a thick book and I just, that old school mind of feeling defeated before I even get into it, but I'm on page 131, out of 500 pages. Oh my God. So I'm constantly learning this one. And it's back to the point, like, where, in which I will start making videos about it, but like, that Capricorn energy, liking to be a perfectionist. It's some of these things that I know of enough to share with y'all, but I just like to be a little more, well versed in the knowledge before I share, especially when I'm sharing something for the first time. Like, if it's something that I done talked about, which to a certain extent I talk about the microcosmic orbit and that breathing before, but if it's something that I never talked about before or have older video on, I like to, articulate it well the first time. That's why with past videos, a lot of times I don't worry about redoing them, because it's like, I put the work into articulating myself well the first time on a lot of them, so don't pay to, mess up the flawlessness of the first, goals. Which it doesn't matter, if I have to do it again, I will, but, try my best not to. Now this one right here, crystal power, crystal healing, I would say is one of the best crystal books I've came across, that kind of gives like the gist of all the knowledge, the healing properties, but more so the mineralogy of things, and the science behind the shapes, and how different shapes give a certain vibration, hexagonal, rhombus, cubic, how all those different things, and it shows the different, structures, orthorhombic, monoclinic, rhombic, just all the different, geometrical shapes, and, just it really breaks it down. And I feel like, because this book, I feel like when you read this book would allow for you to learn how to identify crystals without having to know particular knowledge of the crystal. Well, say for instance, like when you get the knowledge of what the energy that green carries, and the hardness of certain crystals, and the energy that certain elements carry, and then the colors that certain elements turn into inside of certain crystals, like when manganese in most cases turn purple, or being purple or pinkish stones, the manganese and rose quartz. Red in most cases has to do with iron deposits or limonite. It's just all these different elements that turn, give off certain colors and certain energies. And if you know that, somebody could just give you a green crystal, and you're like, all right, it's green, it's looking a little milky, so that can have some calcium in, you know what I'm saying? Like, knowing the textures and the qualities of certain elements, so you'll know you know, all right, it's green, so automatically it's gonna resonate with the heart chakra, Devil Kingdom. You know, in some way, form, or fashion, it's gonna deal with abundance and revitalization, getting close to nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll be able to share what it's about without having to, you know, like, oh, it's amorphous. You know, it doesn't have a real structure in essence, so it's not, you know, it's gonna move like this. You know, but this book, and matter of fact, even down to getting into, again, like what elements are in each one, you know. Then again, has that balance approach, because it does have the little area with the pictures, and you know, it goes through like the mineralogy of it, mythology, and then the healing aspects, and then how to apply them, you know, and they're short and sweet. Because another thing too, if you're a person that wants to write your own crystal book, say for instance, you know, you would learn about the crystals from, you know, from the essence of how the elements and colors and all that make them up, and then you would, you know, work with the crystals yourself, and you give your own knowledge off of, you know, what you learned about the fullness of it, you know what I'm saying, instead of like regurgitating, you know, regurgitating to a certain extent. That, like, with some of these books, if we just go straight up off of everything one person said, to a certain extent it is a regurgitation in the essence of what some people in these crystal books are sharing, the knowledge of them, you know, what they got from tapping into these certain crystals, you know what I'm saying. So, you know, you want to make sure you having your own experiences with your crystals as well, you know. Again, a lot of us are here to write the next new books on crystals, and write the next new books on new meditations, and, you know, just different things. You know, it's not all us just sitting back and just consuming everything that was already here. You know, we also create. I mean, I say we're also creating. That's what we're really here for. But, you know, well, a lot of us are here for all kind of situations. But, you know, the aim is to create. Crystal Power, Crystal Healing by Michael Ginger or Ginger. And as I'm showing you these books, these are all books that I never wrote, none of that type of stuff to, you know, on the copyright. You know, just sharing books that, you know, I'm reading or have read. This one is a good one. Like this book right here, Zen Flesh and Zen Bones. It's compiled by Paul Reps. But like, at some point in time, I always try to make sure I have a copy of this book, and I end up always giving away this copy. This book, like this in the Power of Now, is one of them books where it's like, all right, just here, like, you know, I'll give me another one, and I know where to get, you know, where they replenish them at. Matter of fact, shout out to the last bookstore in LA. You know, they definitely had the books for the nice prices. You know, damn, $3, you know, for a nice little book. But it's basically a collection of Zen stories, you know, and some of them kind of go so, you know, so broad or so deep, you know, like where they let you know at the beginning, like some of them you're not gonna get no aha moment from them, just, you know, as soon as you read it, it may be something that you'll understand later, whatever, but it still has like some type of little, you know, meaning that you could benefit from with a lot of these stories. One of my favorites, let's see, where is it? This is one. I got into a lot of stories. Matter of fact, a lot of the Zen stories in some books like The Power of Now, you know, and other little books that may quote Zen stories. A lot of those Zen stories come from Zen Flesh and Zen Bones. And two, a lot of the sports people out there, you know, which I've spoken this before, but you know, y'all boy Phil Y'all boy Phil Jackson, you know, fact shout out to Phil, you know, he was into Zen Flesh and Zen Bones. This is one of his favorite books right here, so, you know, for y'all sports people that like to, you know. But, so this one is called Killing. Let's share this one right quick. This is not my story, this is a story from Zen Flesh and Zen Bones. Ghassan instructed his adherents one day, those who speak against killing and who desire to spare the lives of all conscious beings are right. It is good to protect even animals and insects. But what about those persons who kill time? What about those who are destroying wealth and those who destroy political economy? We should not overlook them. Furthermore, what of the one who preaches without enlightenment? He is killing Buddhism. You know what I'm saying? So and the point of that, just to show you, like, when we say the word killing, you know, and it's talking about, you know, like, of course, it's about speaking against killing and this and that, and which, of course, again, these lessons, you know, which Zen teachers teach about is no good or bad. So it's just a story to, you know, it's like, oh, they talking about good or bad. It ain't, you know, that ain't the point of it. The point is just how, you know, when they speak on killing, it's like, wait, hold on, they got people, you know, if we speaking out against killing, you know, you got people who kill time, you got people who kill political economy, you got people who, you know, kill wealth, you got people who, you know, preaches without enlightenment, so they killing Buddhism, you know what I'm saying? So it's like just showing you how it's different ways of being a killer, you know, and if the disciple is going to look at, you know, stopping killing that's going on, then you got to look at all the killing that's going on. But definitely a good one. This guy right here, something that in some way, form, or fashion, everybody should have a chakra book. And I spoke on an app I was using at one time. I'm pretty sure that app is still, you know, in the app stores on iPhones and Androids. I forgot the name of it, but anyway, you know, this pocket chakra guide, you know, goes through each chakra, you know, giving the names, symbols, the characteristics, and most important, though, for you to, you know, diagnose yourself and see, like, all right, you know, are my chakras balanced? Because the main thing that throws off things is the chakras being out of alignment, you know, and that comes from different foods, being in different environments, you know, dealing with certain crystals. You know, you may be dealing with a crystal that may overspin a certain chakra. You may deal with a crystal that may, you know, underspin a certain chakra. You know what I'm saying? So it's just making sure you may eat a food that amplify one chakra, not the other. You know what I'm saying? So you want to stay in mind with that. But it shows you the characteristics of the balance of the chakra. It shows you the situation with the excessive energy. And then it shows you how, you know, the characteristics of the energy being deficient, you know. So you could really, you know, assess yourself, because in the actuality of things, everything start off, you know, all this thought and everything start off in the subtle planes, you know, again, I don't like to use these non-physical and unseen, because you can't see these realms and they can be felt, obviously, you know, because if it couldn't be felt, you wouldn't have this ease in the body due to, you know, the chakras being misaligned, you know, which the chakras are considered something that's unseen, you know what I'm saying? But, or should I say non-physical, but you feel something from not having them in alignment, so that would mean they have to have some physicality. But I digress. I got this one. I did a video using this book, you know, Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid, Window of the Universe. We got some nice sacred geometry on there by Bonnie Gant. And matter of fact, this one was by Gardner, which y'all can see the. But this one basically breaks down the gematria of the Bible, you know, and not only breaking down the gematria of the Bible, but in essence too, showing how you know, different little things, just to give y'all a little snippet, but like showing the values, like, well, certain Bible verses carry certain values, and those certain values, you know, correlate to the certain measurements in Stonehenge and in the pyramids, you know. So matter of fact, you'll see, like, they'll show like some of the geometries, and they'll have, like, say for instance the measurements, circumference diameter 236.8, and then you go to a certain Bible verse, and then the number equals to 203, 236.8, you know what I'm saying? So it shows how certain Bible verses and certain things correlate, to the measurements, certain things. So it basically allows for you to break down a Bible instead of saying Peter robbed so and so to pay Paul. The end. It's like, nah, that ain't, it's more to it than that, You gotta look at the fact that English didn't even exist to even express things in the English language, to take the English in face value, But again, just some more little sacred geometries and correlations. There's also like dealing with the Hebrew letters and the Greek letters, because that has a lot to do with gematria. Matter of fact, looking at Jehovah and how it breaks down the elements, you know what I'm saying? Like all that there. All that boy. That girl. Just some more. But Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid. This one of them books where, and as I'm about to say what I'm about to say, always realize that the true, should I say, like, the authentic thing about getting knowledge is getting knowledge for your being, for yourself. Like, you're getting knowledge to help yourself ascend, to help yourself learn things. Of course, indirectly, from you having, certain knowledge, you're, by going about your everyday life, you're going to share some of these, thoughts and some of these ideas and some of this knowledge, some of these facts. But, we're not learning, in essence, to have an egotistical aim, like, oh, I'm learning to prove so-and-so wrong. Of course, as much as a lot of us would love to, disprove all the lies of Christianity. Well, because, in essence, we are here to share truth and to, indirectly bring down that establishment just by just sharing truth. But, our aim is not to gain the knowledge just so I could battle it out with somebody, just so I could debate with somebody, you know what I'm saying? This is for your own understanding, you know what I'm saying? Like, getting knowledge, and get knowledge is to know, you know what I'm saying? And there's different ways you go about it, but anyway, before I get into that tangent, it's about getting the knowledge for yourself, for bettering yourself, sharing knowledge, having a YouTube channel talking about this stuff. That's a byproduct of you already having it, you know what I'm saying, and expressing it. But, it's not of the essence of, trying to debate or trying to use it for some level up in your identity. Like, hey, I learned this, and so now I'm to this level, so I know this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, to take it to an egotistical place is for us to, learn and grow from. Because I know, of course, like, I always speak to the beginning of the growth, when you first just learning things and getting in there. For one, you want to share everything you want to forcefully, like, oh, you don't know about this, man, you got to learn about your chakras and the creative. Like, you're trying to teach everybody and all this, but, you start to realize that, oh, wait, hold on, it's about, whenever the student is ready, then the teacher appears. So whenever somebody comes around you really asking and looking for this information, then you share, or whatever the case may be. Or like, or with a YouTube channel where I'm just sharing generally this YouTube, like, my YouTube channel is not forced upon nobody. Like, I'm sitting down with my camera, sharing, posting it to a platform which is neutral, and people have the free will to tap into my YouTube channel or not. You know, it's not like I'm forcefully making anybody, you know, deal with the information. Matter of fact, got the Way of the Wizard by Deepak Chopra. You know, this one is a pretty good one. It's from that ilk of like the Power of Now, kind of, sorta. You know, it's basically like it's pretty good. It breaks down into where they got a story with Merlin and Arthur, and it has like an example of the energy, like if it's trying to tell you about dealing with your shadow self. You know, it has a little story as an example of how, you know, the story like a Merlin and Arthur, and, you know, a little nice witty little, you know, like I say, moral to the, you know, our little story in it. And then it breaks down how you apply it in your practical life, you know, like now in this moment. You know, but definitely a good book. You know, it's kind of like in that self-realization, again, like that Power of Now, or you know, the power of the heart, like just anything that's dealing with, you know, realizing that internal power. Matter of fact, I look at this as kind of like a mixture of The Alchemist and The Power of Now to a certain extent, where, you know, it has this little story of Merlin and Arthur beginning each lesson, you know, like a little story like The Alchemist, which gives example, because The Alchemist wasn't a story that said, hey, I'm teaching you this in this chapter, I'm teaching you this in this chapter. It was a story, but indirectly that story taught you so much about self-realization and going within. You know, matter of fact, you know, if you haven't watched my old videos and realized that, because I do have a video about books that I started off my growth on, you know, The Alchemist is definitely something I recommend, you know. And of course, I don't have this book right now with me physically, but I do have it on my ebook, like in my Dropbox. But in all ways, The Power of Now was just always one of the, you know, the best books. And I thought about, I had a little download of how, like, how the universe is so, you know, just how the energy of what goes around comes around, in essence, where, you know, at one time, which Hitler was a fall guy, you know, for the most part. But like Hitler being you know, a Nazi German, you know, and what he did in his little era, in a bigger scale, not good, not bad, you know, just a polar, you know, energy, you know, on one of the poles of one of the sides of the one coin, you know. He represented what he represented, and then you got Eckhart Tolle, a German, who's bringing a certain mind frame that's just of a whole, you know, from the different pole of what Hitler energy deal with. And again, Hitler was a fall guy, but just the example of, you know, one German had, like, you know, what we would call the malicious, unrighteous vibe to his existence, and then right now, you know, another German coming up and sharing knowledge that's kind of cleaning up all those ideas of the previous one, in essence, you know. So that's just kind of cool how the universe works. But The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, that is like the spiritual liberating Bible. Like, I feel like I'd be so tempted to just always carry that book, to get another copy, you know, physically, because I don't really like ebooks. I got it on my phone, on my tablet, but, you know, I can only look at those ebooks for so long, you know, to a certain extent. In fact, always remember too, if your phone or your ebook got like the little blue light setting, where it's basically like it stops the light from being harmful to the eyes, you know, that'll help, you know. But it's just better to have an organic thing. And this one I never got into, but it's just one of the little mini books by I always have trouble with saying his name, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Matter of fact, he probably got his picture in the back. No, they don't. But, you know, and the Hindu diaspora, man, you know, diaspora, I don't know if that's the right name, but it the Hindu pantheon, whatever, Yeah, I just sometimes you just like to use these big words for some of these things. But anyway, the Hindu vibes is basically it's an extension of the Kush Empire. The Kush Empire basically is aka Ethiopian, but that empire moved from the continent of Africa and move eastern, into that what we call modern day India, and that Cambodia and Angkor Wat, like all that has to do with that energy. So when you're dealing with the Hindu energy, you're definitely dealing with an ancient vibe that in a lot of cases, is closer to the more truthful vibes of our existence, especially when you realize that too, just like the Bible or any other books, a lot of these characters and situations is not to be taken verbatim. It's a allegory for a symbol for something different, something bigger in essence. But got on the way to Krishna. I never read it. Matter of fact, this the brethren right here who be writing all the books. Y'all probably didn't seen them or heard of them. Matter of fact, I don't know if this one. As a matter of fact, a cool thing too about a lot of these books that have like Sanskrit definitions, like basically like a little glossary. So you kind of got like a little small Sanskrit dictionary as well. Because matter of fact, Krishna stands for the black dot or the black one, or some people interpret it into a blue one, in which to a certain extent, that's where, the racial vibes come in there, where some people want to keep certain knowledge hidden. So, they make them light blue instead of, black or blue-black, the blue-black one, To each his own on how people want to manipulate or deal with information. The truth shall come to the top, the truth shall always rise and always, lies don't last forever. But again, and I'm just showing y'all this one because I just recently somebody just gave me this the other day, one of those synchronized vibes where somebody was like, oh man, I'm dig the vibe here. You might like this book. So I'm like, oh word. I will get into this, so just showing y'all because I got it with me. In this book right here, I was given The Butterfly Man by this brethren, John McElroy. What was cool about this, I actually met the brethren in Venice, and he gave me this book. It's pretty good. I haven't got deep into it yet. It has to do with, it starts off about him having erectile dysfunction and dealing with it. But it's a cool, like the way this book is written allows for me to see how you can have a different platform of sharing information, because it's kind of like random and kind of like speaking his thoughts straight up, which that's something I took from it, because I want to share like my thoughts straight up. I don't want to necessarily have it in a format where as you're reading it, you can almost narrate it like a blank voice, or like anybody can narrate. I want my book to sound like I'm talking in essence, I would love to have to where if it was possible to have my little southern twang within the words, or make or spell out words in that manner. But it's a cool little book. I'm just halfway through it, or should I say at the beginning of it. But that's basically it. That's what I'm reading right now. That's what I'm dealing with. Again, getting the knowledge, to expand the inner universe. And another thing too, a balance. Of course, we're reading these books and things of this nature, but don't forget that you are a walking book. A lot of this information is, we recalling this information. We're not really learning it for the first time. We relearning and recalling information that's already within us. This information is embodied within our DNA, within our being, but just on some as above, so below, we got external versions of that information to, reconsume it, or reactivate it within ourselves, but we are the walking libraries, the Akashic records, Basically, you know. But that's it. Peace. Happy now. Now is a vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past, of course. Right now,